name is Kent, and I want to welcome you to our channel. We are going to sit down, me and my wife, and explain a lot more about this channel and what it is together. But I wanted to start out just by explaining a little bit about us and our adventure and why we're doing this together as a family. You know, 2 years ago, my wife had brought up the idea of, hey, we should do something in an RV together. Like, what if we traveled for a few weeks in an RV around the Midwest and visited my family and did this? And I was like, oh yeah. No, I was like not excited about that. The idea in my head when I think of RVs is Christmas Vacation, National Lampoons, and I think of the cousin visiting and like dumping his stuff all over in the sewer area. Okay, that's my impression of like RVing. But you know, she had this idea and I kind of dismissed it and was like, oh, okay. And then COVID hit, but we were ready to get off island and go do something. And so our daughters wanted to visit family and see different sites. And so this idea came up again, and my wife said, hey, what if we did this for like a month or 2 months and traveled through the US? And again, I was a little like, maybe. I didn't have the right frame of mind. Now, granted, I had some incredible friends who live on Maui with us. Quinn and Josefa Ciccarelli, they did a fifth wheel around the Pacific Northwest for a year as a family, and they had like little kids when they did it, 2 and 4, I think. And they loved it, and they would talk to me about it even right before they moved to Maui, which is what they did. They would talk to me about their adventures and seeing all the national parks and all these different things. And honestly, I was a little jealous. I was like, man, I want to take my family away for a year, just like my family, and grow together and bond together and explore together. And so they planted a little seed inside of me, but I just couldn't wrap my head around leaving my job and figuring out how much money we needed and leaving my home and my parents who just retired and moved to Maui like right before COVID and all these other things that I was thinking about. We have a dog, a chicken, 3 chickens, all these different things. What do I do? And we have emerging teenagers. Well, not just emerging. I mean, one of them's 12, one of them's 14. And so how do we do all of this? Is this even possible? And as I thought more and more about it, privately, now I didn't talk to my wife about this, I didn't talk to my family, it was very private, kind of doing my own research, figuring things out, is this possible? In the meantime, I last year was able to resign from my job that I had for like 17 years and just go head on full-time into our business that we've been doing for 5+ years with Mind Change. And so that's what we've been doing, and I realized, oh my goodness, especially during COVID, we can totally do this remote. We have our online trainings, we have online sessions we can do, and yeah, we're not going to be able to do the private retreats or the different things in Maui, but there's so much that we can do on the road. And so it got me thinking and my wheels spinning all the more. And as I really went forward and talked to my wife and I said, listen, I know you've been talking about doing this as like a vacation kind of thing. I think I'm actually ready to go for longer. And she was like, what do you mean? And I said, like a year. I want to do this for like a year at least as a family. Just go and explore. Explore the US in an RV. And so as we got to talking, we started making plans. Of course, we weren't sharing this with our kids yet because we wanted to make sure we were on board together with it. And as we did, I actually got with a good friend of mine, and I want to give so much props, so much gratitude up for Garrett G. Many of you may know the G's, Jess and Garrett, as the Bucket List family. And we were able to sit down and I just talked with them, friend to friend, like, hey, you guys travel the world, you do all these things, you run your business. How do you do it? Because for me, I'm concerned about finances. I'm concerned about being away from family or friends. I'm concerned about like even this whole like job. How do you run it? Just so many different things. And so he gave me a lot of great pointers, a lot of great advice. But the one thing that he said that really stuck with me, focus solely on every decision being about making your life even freer so that you can make more money, so that you can spend more time with family, so that you can grow your business. Every decision you make, make it about, this is gonna help me be more free.
That they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
And so I started doing that. And it was, okay, let's build this course, which we have a course coming out for Mind Change Method, Module 1. Whatever choice I make sure that it's giving me more freedom was the key. And so I started doing that. And as Heather and I started talking more and more, we realized, oh my goodness, we can actually do this. And so we started looking up RVs and looking up all these things, and we sat down with our kids and we said, hey, listen, we want to tell you an idea. We want to share with you an idea and see what you guys think about it before we move forward on anything. And so we told them, we said, okay, we are thinking about exploring the United States, going to every state possible, so many different places in an RV. And their reaction was, yes, I totally want to do that. I mean, they were so excited, which actually blew my mind, because one of my kids loves our house and loves to be at home and loves to read and do these things kind of independently. The other kid is like wild, but loves surfing and loves Maui and just all these. So we were a little concerned, and yet both of them were like, yeah, let's do this. We're gonna spend more time as a family. You guys aren't gonna have to work as much. We're gonna be able to, as a family, go and explore and do things and adventure and experience cities and mountains and valleys and canyons and trees and just everything, snow and everything else. And so they were super excited, to say the least. So that gave us the green light. The search was crazy. We were looking at RVs, and I was like, in my mind, I don't know why, but in my mind I was like putting numbers together. Now, I had done a bunch of research on how much it costs, like per month, right? You got your propane, you got your water, you got your electric, you got your times you're staying at camps, other times you're boondocking, other times there's so many different aspects of it, which we'll share in a whole other video that I had known nothing about. So we started looking, and let's just say slim pickings for that kind of budget. And so we were looking, and then my wife found some like remodeled ones, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's more than double our budget. Like, how on earth are we gonna do that? And eventually we had this surprise one. It was kind of old, but we could totally remodel it, and it was great. And so we brought it into a shop just to kind of say, hey, we need it road ready, change the tires, do whatever. And it was a great price, and we were all excited about it. And weeks after we finally kind of were making the deal and doing all these things, we got the inspection. And the inspection came back no bueno. It was like, the guy called me and says, I actually stopped the inspection so I didn't have to charge you the full amount. Don't get this RV. It's really, really run down. And so there's so many issues with it. So we were really bummed. But we said, okay, let's keep going. Let's look. So then we upped our budget a little bit, we found another one, and was like, oh my goodness, this is it. This is great. It's minorly redone, but we can do some more things to it. Not too crazy out of our budget. Let's do it. Let's go for it. And we got an inspection on that. Water damage to the roof, and mold and leaking and all that stuff. Great. Okay, awesome. Now by this time I was already planning to go to Florida. We got our tickets to Florida because that's where the RV was, and I thought it was great. But then luckily we found another one like very close by, and so we were like, yes, and it took us like a week and a half. I was like on the phone with the guy a week and a half. Hey, please just keep this RV. I'm trying to get an inspection. I believe it's in good shape, just trying to be. And so it's great, awesome. We got the inspection, which are not cheap, and realized that the bottom of the entire RV was going to fall through if we were traveling across the country. It had rotted so much, and we were like, oh my goodness, what are we doing here? It seems like every RV that's used has massive issues. And then 5 days before we left, we're supposed to leave, we had this big sit-down talk. And it was like, okay, how are we gonna do this? Like, what are we doing here? And so after a lot of research, we ended up deciding the best thing for us was gonna be to actually do a fifth wheel instead. Now, I was planning on RVing and toting a car behind, but no, instead, we decided a fifth wheel 5 days before we left. And we were like, okay, let's find a fifth wheel. And so I did all this crazy research on it. And we were also concerned about the inspections, and so we decided, you know what, we're just gonna go for it. We are gonna stop chincing, stop trying to pinch pennies, and then have disasters happen. And I found this guy, total godsend, who had a brand new 2021 fifth wheel. And yet it was only like a few months old. And so I got a massive discount off of it. And yet there's no issues with it. And all the little issues that happen when you get a brand new RV, like this doesn't work or this doesn't work, just straight out of the factory, he already dealt with. So it was awesome. And except it was in Idaho. And so I had to change our tickets and fly to Idaho instead. And as we decided to do that, everything started to fall in place. And there was so much that we still didn't know. We were looking for trucks. And then it was like, okay, great, let's find a truck. Let's do just a gas 2500, and then realizing, oh no, we need a 3500, a ton truck. And then it was like, oh, okay, we need the diesel one to really pull this big of a trailer. It's a 37-foot trailer. And so it's 16,000 pounds gross, and we were like, oh my goodness, we've got to, pull something big. And so we ended up deciding on a 3500 diesel, which is not easy to find and kind of expensive. But we said we're gonna do it, it's gonna be great. We kind of honed in on some 2016, 2017, 15, whatever, GMC Sierras, 3500s. And it was great, and we were gonna, get here, and the next day go and look at the trucks because they were on some lots. And then I get here and I talked to the guy who I bought this from, and he basically convinced me that Dodge Ram 3500 diesels are the way to go, the Cummins engine. And it's funny because as we're coming from the airport and driving around, we realize, oh my goodness, everyone is driving a Dodge. Like everyone who's hauling the big stuff. There's like 1 in every 10 is a GMC, but it's the Dodges that are really the pullers. So we nailed that down, and it was on a Saturday, and I couldn't wire the money yet, and we were supposed to move off property with this guy who we bought this from. Supposed to move off property on Sunday, and he was so kind to drive us to the RV park, drop us off, and we have nothing to tow with. So Monday morning, wire the money, go get the truck, and boom, we've got it. But it was crazy just to find a truck and a trailer, and then we had to get a hitch. That's a whole other story. So we'll tell you more about that another time. But the real purpose of this trip is just to be close as a family. I mean, we work from home, and so we were around the kids all the time, but I don't think I was very present. There was always something on my mind, always something I had to do. And so the idea for this trip is to kind of consolidate our workload, put it all in a certain set amount of time, and then be able to live and be and explore and cook and play baseball and all these different things together as a family. But to be able to bond as a family, that's the real purpose behind this. I'm so thankful for all the RV YouTubers that are already out there, because holy cow, I needed you for so many things. For like, oh, I didn't realize I needed this to check my TPMS system, right? The tire pressure monitoring system, all that. I didn't know that I needed to have certain things to flush down the toilet. I didn't know that I needed certain hoses. I didn't know that I needed, I can't just run on battery for more than a few hours because I have one lead acid battery. Like, these are things I just didn't know. And I'm so grateful for all those people out there who have already shared their story, because I've learned so much already and still have so much more to learn. But thank you, thank you, thank you. And so as we're out there, we're gonna do videos on, man, what is it like to go around the country in a fifth wheel with teens? I mean, we have teenagers. We're going to give you a tour of our place in one of the videos. We're gonna explain first week, like how it all went down, me and my wife. Maybe give some of our kids' impressions of the first week and the transition and the chaos. We're going to be sharing videos with you about things that we do and excursions that we take, and sometimes just the day-to-day life of what it's like being at an RV park or boondocking or doing something else crazy fun. And so we're really excited to share this journey with you. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe below, because there's going to be so many more things to come. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, this is Kent. You can go to our Mind Change YouTube channel to learn more about what we do with our business. But there's going to be so much we're going to explore with you here as a family on this channel. So again, looking forward to the rest of this next era of life with you. See you soon.